So welcome to the third episode of the Learning Stoic. I changed the title because I feel like the Learning Stoic is much more, it's much better than the the Trying Stoic. So the Learning Stoic, the channel is what the channel's called. So today I want to talk about the four Stoic virtues: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. So wisdom, as in, so to be, you know, to practice the virtue of wisdom is to, go into a situation and realize, like, oh, like this, like, you don't rush into a situation. You sit back, you watch, your surroundings, you watch what's happening. And when you do that, what you're doing is really what you're doing is you're letting things progress, because the only thing that you can control in this life is yourself. And in that, you can't control your emotions, but you certainly can control the way you react to your emotions. Like, so yes, I like, say you're driving on the road, like, yeah, you can, and this is one that I personally struggle with quite a bit. It's like, all right, so driving on the road, and somebody pulls out in front of you, and you just have this feeling of, rage inside. And so when you have that feeling of rage, it's like, okay, well, let's see what's. And it takes a lot of practice and self awareness to step back and to step into your mind, reflect on the situation at hand, and what exactly is going to happen. Like, all right, like, step back. What is being angry in this very moment going to solve, except for upset you and waste energy that could be put into, more valuable assets. So, like, what, and the thing is, that's certainly not an easy thing, nor is it something that you're going to immediately catch yourself on. Like I said, I struggle with it quite a bit. So, it's certainly one of those things that you have to catch yourself in the moment doing. Amor fati. Like, yes, this is the most frustrating thing, but, love fate. Like, this is teaching me patience at this very moment. So, that, and that's, wisdom. Now, courage. Courage is very much, courage is very interesting of the four virtues, because courage, it can sometimes be quite difficult to be courageous in situations where it is needed. Say, for example, you're being peer pressured into, doing something you don't want to do. And the thing is, peer pressure, it can be quite persuasive. But that's when you hold yourself to a higher standard. You restrict with yourself, but lenient with others. You have to hold yourself to a far higher standard and be courageous, and just not go along with what the group says. As Marcus Aurelius said, and I'm paraphrasing, um, you want to escape, you know, the insanity of the masses. The object of life is to escape the insanity of the masses, which means, you know, you can sit back whilst all the masses are doing these insane things, like, because, you know, mass groups of people, they're not the most logical and rational groups of things. It's very emotional, it's very hot tempered. So you have to make that conscious decision to, you know, you have to make that conscious decision to be more, um, that you have to make that conscious decision to be more rational, to be more logical, and to see that just because this very angry, highly emotional mob is doing this thing, that you can sit back and you can approach this from a much better position, a much better angle. And that takes courage to not just go along with what everyone else is doing at that very moment. And the third, great of the four Stoic virtues is temperance. Moderation. Drinking, smoking, that sort of thing. Whilst, and I drink, but but I do my best to moderate how much I drink. For example, I don't drink on work days, and I only drink on Friday and Saturday. And even then, I do my best to not get absolutely slammed. It's, temperance is very important to being a rational being, because if you're, if you're living a wholly hedonistic lifestyle and you're not being tempered about it, then at the end of the day, you're hurting yourself mentally, spiritually, and probably physically. So it's always good to practice temperance, And I think one of the problems of modernity, not to sound like a boomer or anything, is, the lack of temperance we practice towards the lack of temperance we practice. It's always, always better to practice temperance instead of, and this also goes back to the, being courageous. Like a lot of society is very hedonistic, very materialistic, but it's always good to be temperate about the materialistic things that we do in this world. It's better for you mentally, physically, and spiritually. And whilst it's probably not the most satisfying thing in the moment, in the long run, you are going to feel so much better than if you had, gotten absolutely shit faced and, done hard drugs. Be temperate, be rational, and you will, things in life will be far less painful for you. And now for the fourth great virtue, justice. Justice is, there's definitely, we certainly lack certain elements of justice in our society. But it is up to, you to be a just person. Don't judge people immediately. Get to know them, get to, try to understand their vibe. And if you don't like it, well, then remove them from your life. But don't be unjust, don't be cruel to them because you don't like what they have to say or that sort of thing. Try to be understanding, and if they are wrong, try to correct them in a better manner. And if they don't listen and they wish to be, hard-headed, well, then remove them. Do the just thing and remove them from your life. Try to take the problem, head on. But some people are just absolutely they're just going to dig their heels into the ground. And so, always be kind to people. Be the better person. Don't stoop to someone else's level because they're being an absolute asshat at that very moment. But yes. So this is episode 3 of the Learning Stoic. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.